He hoped it wasn't an embarrassing flaw in his dialect, the English they spoke here being unlike anything he'd heard in gymnasium. But after that first bout of giggles, she became more helpful. "Mr. Lugan doesn't really make appointments," she said. "His schedule is always subject to change. You know the Hill, things come up." After a pause, she added, "Verstehen Sie?" "Yes, I think so," he said. Of course she speaks German, he told himself. It's German affairs. It doesn't mean anything, so stop worrying so much. She doesn't think you're a spy. "Well, look," she said, now with a note of sympathy in her voice. "If you want to catch up with Toby, you might try the diplomatic circuit. There's a reception tonight at Finland, and one tomorrow at, Argentina. He might be there, but I can't promise anything. Toby's all over the town these days. Ich wünsche Ihnen gutes Glück." After he'd hung up, Oskar had found he was sweating under the tan wool suit. This strange game of being two people at once, speaking two languages in an alien land where important people didn't make appointments, it was all a bit absurd, but also exhilarating. He'd fretted over the logics of arranging an invitation to an Embassy Row soirée, but that turned out to be no problem. Such papers were kept in a file at the embassy. You just took one and signed for it, and if none was available, then the matter could be resolved again with a telephone call. It seemed to him a kind of magic. And so, by means of consular enchantment, Erwin Kaspar presented himself at the Embassy of Finland at 6 o'clock that same day. He was admitted with a courteous nod, after barely a glance at the heavy stock card in his hand, and spent the next hour moving slowly around a large room with pale blue walls and remarkable chandeliers that seemed like a modernist evocation of reindeer horns. He forgot for a considerable time that he was a German intelligence officer, and imagined himself instead an accredited member of this attractive, animated, champagne-sipping and ever-smiling crowd of whoever they were, the diplomatic circuit. And the illusion was more compelling because at no point was it interrupted by the appearance of Toby Lugan, at least no one who looked like the photo Oskar had stared at for hours before embarking on this American odyssey, so he was never obliged to stop being Erwin Kaspar and get down to the non-magical business at hand. The second evening, tonight, at the Embassy of Argentina, the spell had snapped. He'd arrived earlier this time, just after the guest of honor, a writer named Borges, had finished his reading. Lugan was there ahead of him. There was no mistaking the man, even from across the wide and glittering ballroom. He was Oskar's height, but half again as massive, fair-haired, red-faced, a street brawler in a sharp blue suit. He'd parked himself in front of a buffet table, where he was chomping finger sandwiches 2 at a time while talking loudly to a Latin beauty young enough to be his daughter. He was drinking not champagne, but something amber in a tall glass, filled too high, and splashing out as he gestured expressively to enliven his monologue. The beautiful woman was laughing along with him, or at him, or just laughing. Oskar couldn't tell what was going on precisely, but he sensed that Lugan, in his boorish way, had managed to charm her, and knew it, and was going to ride this as far as it would go. Oskar felt irrationally and irrevocably repulsed. Trust your instincts, his trainers had instructed him at one point. At another point, they'd told him the opposite. You can't trust instincts you've acquired in Germany, because they won't work in America, where people don't look at you as they do here, and your enemies won't be so obliging as to show up in leather coats with an opal idling at the curb. Now his instinct told him that Herr Lugan, minority counsel and man about town, was a dangerous brute, not just in a physical sense. There was something daunting about his presence.